Hello, I am Marie Contreras. For the last 20 years, I have been a vintage and antique collectibles reseller on eBay. For the last 5 years, I have run my own pet care business. I write a weekly blog about pet care, and I recently wrote my first book about caring for dogs. I make videos on this channel about growing a small business, saving money, and living life on your own terms. If this sounds like something you would enjoy, stick around. I hope you enjoy what I created for you. So I've just finished looking back over my annual budget, and I reviewed what I did last year, and I reviewed what I didn't do last year. And I thought it would be fun to share what I'm not going to spend money on anymore this year. First, the things on this list are keeping me from saving as much money as I would like to save. I'm consuming too much in these areas, or they're just wasteful for me and my lifestyle. They may not be for you, but for me, I don't need them. So I'm not going to spend my resources, my time, or my energy on these items anymore. The first area is new clothes. I buy the majority of my clothes secondhand anyway, or I swap with friends and recently neighbors, but I'll go into that later in another video. I've joined a group that's a lot of fun for that kind of stuff, but I will share that later. But clothing. I have been a clothes horse my whole life, even after I pared down last year and I pared down to 40 items of clothing. When I lost weight, I found myself shopping again because I needed clothes, and I very quickly had a full wardrobe and a full closet again. So I pared down again, and I am doubling down on my efforts to not buy any more new clothes. Fast fashion is a problem. Landfills are filling up. I don't want to be a part of the problem. I would rather be part of the solution, or at least not make it any worse. And I have what I need. I have a warm winter coat. I've got clothes that I can work in, clothes that I can play in, clothes that I can go out in. I've got my bases covered. And so for the next year, I'm not going to be doing any shopping. This doesn't say if I wreck if I wreck a winter coat and I'm freezing and I need a new coat, I'm going to get a coat. I'm going to try and get a secondhand one first, and there are lots of places you can do this. You can do this at local thrift stores. You can do it through Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Poshmark, ThredUp, Swap.com. There's lots of places you can get great secondhand things now. And I have bought a ton of stuff. As I was sizing down, I bought a lot of stuff through Swap.com and ThredUp. And you can sort condition to things that are new with tags, but because somebody else owned them first, you get them for, 50 to 70% off the normal price. I save a bunch of money that way, but I'm going to save even more this year by not bringing anything else home. That's the goal. The second thing that I'm going to cut back on this year, because I didn't realize that I was spending as much as I actually was, but lately I have been renting movies online. And you may be wondering, wait, you got rid of your TV last June. Why are you renting movies? Well, I still have a laptop. I still have a phone. I still get bored at the end of the day and I don't want to work anymore. And so that is my way to relax, is to sometimes treat myself for all the hard work I did during the day with a movie or a program or a show. And 2 hours that I spend watching a movie is 2 hours that I could be spending creating content or writing a book or calling a friend or working in my garden. And I don't want to spend that much time watching television or watching movies. So I'm not going to rent any more movies, even though I do want to see the new James Bond movie, but I'm going to hold back and I'm not going to do that for right now. For a year, no more renting movies. I have Amazon Prime. I can still watch my Yellowstone and I can still watch my favorite programs. I try to limit myself to 1 hour per night at the end of the day when all the work is done and I want to relax a little bit before I go to bed and do a little bit of reading. But I'm going to cut out movies because it's expensive and it's unnecessary and it's a waste of my time. While I'm at it, I also got rid of my Apple TV. I didn't have Netflix. I got rid of my Hulu, but as soon as I got rid of it, there were shows that I wanted to watch, so I may not keep Hulu gone because I am using it. I got rid of HBO Max, but again, I do like watching, and just like that, I was a big Sex and the City fan back in the day, and I love watching the girls now that they're older, my age, And so I may get that one back, but I'm not going to keep any that I'm not watching. The Apple TV, I enjoyed watching the morning show, but it's on hiatus right now. So I'm trying to limit the streaming apps because there's so many subscriptions. Perfume subscriptions, makeup subscriptions, magazine subscriptions. All of that stuff's got to go because it adds up and it's just too much. And I'm trying to save up for my next big project. And this money is it's flowing through my fingers. So all of those things are going to go. Something that I gave up towards the end of last year was caffeine and coffee. My doctor had asked me to give up caffeine. My heart was racing a lot as a symptom of my hyperthyroidism. And he said, you really don't need any coffee. Your heart's going so fast as it is. I'm on medication for that, but I did give up coffee and caffeine products. So I'm not tempted by Starbucks anymore. I never was a big Starbucks person, so that wasn't a huge temptation for me, but I'm not buying coffee anymore, and I'm not buying anything with caffeine in it anymore. It was easy for me to give up because even before the doctor asked me to give it up, I was drinking 2 cups a day, and then at first he said, you need to drop it back down to 1, which I did, which was easy. 2 to 1 was easy. And then he said, you know what, why don't you just switch to decaf? I did that. I didn't like decaf, so when he said just give up decaf altogether, I said no problem. I don't like it anyway. Another thing that I gave up for the most part last year was alcohol, so I won't be buying much of that this year either. I still have the occasional drink when I'm out with friends or if I'm invited to someone's home, but I'm not stocking it and keeping it in my home. That's not to say if I went to a friend's house, I wouldn't bring a bottle of wine, or if I had guests coming to my house, I wouldn't have something on hand for them or even myself on occasion. But it's not something that I'm keeping stocked up. I'm not buying it on a weekly basis. It's something that I'm going to save for special occasions and special visitors. That again was easy to give up. I wasn't drinking very much anyway, but it's very expensive and it interacts negatively with my medication, so alcohol's on the outs. Another thing that I won't be buying this year is something that I also didn't buy last year, which is candy and sweets. I gave up sugar a few years ago. I have the occasional piece of chocolate, but I don't buy it to keep in the house. It's something that I may have when I'm out at a friend's house or somewhere out socially, but it's not something that I plan for. I don't plan for treats or sweets or anything like that. I don't keep them in the house, so it makes it easier. It makes it easier to not have it if I don't even bring it in the house. So I don't buy those things. And another thing that I gave up a couple years ago now was fast food and restaurant food. During the shutdowns of 2020, I didn't go out at all. And I got out of the habit because so many of the places were closed anyway and I had no choice. It really changed the way that I eat. I started meal prepping and I started just planning to eat at home all the time. And I got in the habit of it. And so last year, even when things opened up, I patronized a few of the local restaurants that I really enjoyed that I didn't want to see go out of business. And I ate there primarily to help them stay open. I prefer to know what's in my food and to prepare it myself now. So unless it's a special occasion or I've got a special guest, I'm probably not going to be doing that. Because I meal prep, I don't need fast food. I don't need the quick grab and go because I've already got it ready at home. And because my work schedule is flexible, I can easily eat breakfast at home. I get up at 5:30. My first dog walk's not till 9. I usually write for a couple hours before work, so eating breakfast at home is easy. I have a break after I go to the gym in the mornings before my next dog walk. That's big enough for me to come home and cook lunch from scratch if I want to. I've got a couple hour break between my last walk and my next walk, and I use that time to go to the gym and have lunch. And then because I set my own hours, I'm done by 5:30 every night. And there's no overtime unless someone begs me to do an extra walk. But generally I don't work in the evenings. And so I'm home by 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I can make dinner easily at home. And I'm kind of in that routine now where it's not work anymore. My kids are grown, so it's easy for me. But I like meal prepping. And a lot of times I'll just cook once or twice a week for the rest of the week, and I'll have the meals ready to go. And so fast food and restaurant food is going to stay gone for me because I've got a better plan of making it myself. The next thing that I'm not going to be spending money on this year is something that I gave up probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and that would be manicures, pedicures, massages, facials, beauty treatments. I can do the majority of those things at home in some form or fashion. I can shape my own nails, I can take care of my feet, I can give myself a facial. Once in a while, I'll buy a Groupon when I'm feeling like I need a little extra pampering or I miss it, and I can't really give myself a proper massage. But those things are very expensive, and I'm saving up for other things right now, and so those things are going to be gone for this year. I'm going to give them another break. Doesn't mean they're gone forever, but for this year, I'm not going to spend my money on those things. Plus, my gym has red light therapy, it's got tanning, it's got a massage bed, and so I've got, for $22 a month at Planet Fitness, I've got all of those covered, and I can give myself a mask and make my skin pretty and paint my nails. So that's what I'm going to choose to do with my time and money this year. The next thing that I'm not going to spend any money on, because I have too much already, is furniture and home decor. In fact, I'm trying to sell and clear out quite a bit of furniture and home decor. This place is just too cluttered, and so I will not be buying any furniture or home decor this year. Those are things I find myself, I used to do a lot of retail therapy, especially when my mom or my daughter were around. My daughter lives in Virginia now, and so she's quite a drive from me. She's a plane flight away, and my mom's gone. But something that my mom had done with me ever since I was a little girl was when she would get bored, she would take me shopping. We didn't go with a plan. We didn't go out of need. We would go and check the sale racks, and she'd let me pick up a couple items of clothing, which is where I got the clothing habit from. But we also did it with home decor. We would buy, little things for the room or the house when we lived together. We would, we'd usually fight over the home decor, so we didn't get a lot of home decor together because her taste was so different from mine. But it was something that we would do with girlfriends just to relax. We'd go to a TJ Maxx or Marshall's or the mall and just walk around and look at things until you found something that you could bring home. And I just don't do that anymore. I prefer to keep my money in my bank account, and I try not to spend it on mindless shopping. I find that a lot of those things that I pick up spur of the moment aren't things that I end up loving. I just buy them to buy, and I just don't do that anymore. I don't need the stuff, and I want my money to stay in my bank account more than I want to bring home the next tchotchke. The next thing that I'm not going to be buying this year is printed books. I have a Kindle. I have an Audible subscription that I use. I love to listen to books when I'm driving to and from customers' houses and throughout the day. I enjoy my Kindle at night before I go to bed or when I'm traveling. I also have a library card so I can read books on my Kindle that I've checked out at the library, and I need to use the library card more often. I've had it since I moved back to LA, and I just don't use it very much, but there's really no need for me to buy more printed books that I'm going to read one time and then donate to Goodwill anyway. I try not to keep them stacked on the shelves because unless it's a reference book, I'm not going to read it again anyway. So especially novels and books that I would read one time. I like biographies and I like business books, but if it's not something that I need to have on hand, I'm not buying it this year. There are too many ways that I can get books. Today's video is sponsored by Good Dogs, a foolproof guide for having happy and healthy dogs. Yes, I wrote this book. I don't have any real sponsors yet, but this is a great book. If you have dogs or you know somebody who has a dog, you can find it on Kindle, in paperback on Amazon, and now it's also available on Audible, so you can listen to it while you're driving around. Anyway, back to today's program. The next one, don't tell, but I'm not buying any dog or cat toys this year. They have enough. They don't play with the ones they have. They've got a few favorites. We're not buying any more cat toys or dog toys this year. We're going to keep that on the down low because I don't want to have an uprising. There's more of them than there are of me, but no more of that this year. And the other thing that I'm also not going to buy this year is more supplements. I went a little nuts last year buying supplements. I started researching, everything that I might want to take to deal with Graves' disease and hyperthyroidism, and I've spent more money on supplements than I have on real food, and I need to get back to focusing my food money on food. I used to always get my vitamins and minerals from the food that I ate, and I don't know, I think it was just fear that I started buying all these other things. I would have a strand of hair come out in the shower and decide that I needed biotin and collagen for my hair. And all these videos that have long lists of supplements that you should be taking, I just want to eat normal food. It's way too many pills. So I'm going to cut way back on the supplements. Now, I am going to reserve the right to buy things that my doctor specifically tells me that I need. If he says I have a vitamin D deficiency, I'm going to take the vitamin D. But all this other stuff that I've been buying, with the exception of melatonin, I was having trouble sleeping and I started taking melatonin, and the very first night I started taking it, it worked for me. It's not supposed to. The pharmacist told me it would take several days to get in my system and to kick in. And many people have said that it didn't do anything for them, but it actually worked for me, and I've been sleeping like a log ever since I started taking it. So that one I'm going to keep taking, because I was up every couple of hours, and now I'm sleeping all the way through like I used to. So I'm going to cut way back on the supplements because they're expensive, and I want to eat real food. Well, that's it for off the top of my head what I can think of that I'm giving up this year. What about you? Are there things that are standing in the way of you achieving your dreams? Are you spending too much money in an area where you should be saving? Or maybe you're spending too much time doing something that's taking you away from the tasks that you need to do to complete your dreams. The things on this list are holding me back, and that's why I'm happy to let them go. But I would love to know what holds you back and what changes you would like to make this year. I hope this helps somebody. Bye till next time. If you enjoyed this video, nudge the like button. If you would like to see more like this, consider subscribing. If you would like to read the blog or check out my new book, I'm going to leave links to them in the description. Thank you for watching. Bye till next time.